I believe in family. Family helps you get through everything. When I was 8 years old, my family and I found out that my grandpa had Alzheimer's. I was little and didn't really understand what it meant. I didn't understand that he would eventually forget who I was and who my dad and uncles were. To make a confused little girl even more confused, about a year later, my grandma got dementia and would eventually have to keep getting reminded of my grandpa's Alzheimer's. I started wondering what would happen to them, so my parents explained that eventually my grandma would forget a lot of things and my grandpa would get a lot less like himself. For the time being, my parents and aunts and uncles tried their best to keep things normal at family birthdays and holidays by keeping normal conversations going with both of my grandparents. I have two little cousins too, who were no older than 2 and 4 when we found out, so having them treat my grandma and grandpa normally helped my older cousins and me. At first, my grandpa was still himself, making jokes and teaching my cousins and me about nature, since he was, after all, a biology and outdoor education teacher. But after a while, he didn't seem as invested in things he used to love. Back before he got diagnosed, I didn't really care about what he was showing us and kind of just wanted to go away. But after he died, I wish I would have asked him to show me more. I remember two pictures that my family has. One of them was a picture of my grandpa standing next to my cousin, who was holding a mushroom that they had found together. I remember it because it represents my grandpa perfectly. And the other picture is a picture of me alone, lying on the sidewalk, staring at a little bug. I probably wouldn't have been so excited to find the bug had my grandpa not been so excited and happy to teach us about nature. As my grandpa's memory got worse, my grandma began to worry more and more about him. Eventually, they both had to be put into nursing homes. They went to separate ones to take the stress off of my grandma. A few months after we got my grandpa settled, my whole family, except my grandma, went to visit him and make sure he was doing okay. It was Christmas time, so we wanted to visit him so that we could all feel good that we included him, even though he wouldn't remember it. My uncle wanted to visit my grandma to check up on her, but it was harder to see my grandma because all she wanted to talk about was my grandpa. He ended up going, which gave everyone peace of mind since we wanted to go. It was just difficult. The next time we went to visit my grandpa was for his birthday, so we brought him a pie since that was his favorite dessert. I remember that my aunt kept asking him if he wanted a piece, but every time he answered about something completely different. My mom could tell that it was upsetting me, so she checked to make sure I was okay. I asked her if he was going to forget everything, even my grandma and dad, and she said he would probably only remember my grandma since they have known each other for so long, since high school actually. In January of this year, my grandpa passed away. My dad seemed upset when he told us, but it also seemed like he was just trying to not show it so my sister and I wouldn't get more upset. Later that week, we went to his calling hours, and my dad's friends came from an hour away to support my dad. My youngest cousin seemed really upset, but she was still peppy like she always was, which helped everyone. The next day we went to his funeral and my uncles cried during their whole time talking about my grandpa, but when my dad came up he made everyone laugh because that's who he is, always wanting to make people laugh. My grandma came too, and she seemed to be doing okay to my cousins and me, but I could tell she was very upset. I missed my grandpa a lot, but having my family there and being there for my family made it a little bit easier.